Welcome back to the H2O Hustle Podcast, where we talk about the utility industry, water, wastewater, steam, and boiler operations with leadership, professional growth, and what it takes to continue to develop as an operator with passion, purpose, and precision. I'm Jamel, and I'm glad to be on here again with you and everyone. And what I want to get into today is at some point in the show, I do want to get into some definitions of like a exam prep style, um, just rattling off definitions of boiler terminology and steam industry terminology to help provide some good ground and some good foundation for operators who are studying and who are just interested in the industry and wanting to know more about it. But before I do that, I want to talk about this week as I am at a boiler licensing exam course, a week long course, um, about an hour away from where I live. Through our community college here, Ivy Tech Community College, here in Indiana, where I am, and I just went through today's class, the very first class today, and it was kind of heavy, but we got into some good things. We talked about steam systems. We talked about feed water and how feed water is important in your boilers. And we talked about safety. We talked about the ASME code, which that's a definition I'll get into when we do the glossary or definitions. And it was just a lot of things that we got into today, and took some practice tests. We actually did a pre-test to see what kind of knowledge we had before we actually started the class. And I got a 60% on that test, and that's not bad for somebody that has more of a water and wastewater background coming into the steam industry. Only been in the steam industry for a couple months, and to have that kind of score on a pre-test gives me some great hope that I can always learn, I can always grow, and just like anything else, you got to start from the bottom to get where you are, to get where you want to be. And I just thought that that would be a great way to open up this show and talk about that. It's a good group of us in there. Some guys from my city where I am, and they're at other jobs, but some of them work at hospitals, some of them work for power plants and other types of um, industries and everything. So it's good to connect with new people and see a good group of people and listen to their experiences and what their knowledge is and what they know, and how they're going to approach this class. So our instructor is a very good instructor. I like him, and he's thorough. He's not over the top. He just says what he has to say and conveys it in a way that is relatable to everybody. And I think that's the kind of instructor that you want in these types of you know situations. So that's a plus for me and a plus for everyone else in the course, I'm sure. So I just thought I would say that, and I think the rest of the week is going to be a good week. Like I said, it was a heavy day today. Kind of laid it on heavy to get a lot of the stuff beaten to our heads so that we would have repetition and know, what's important and what's to focus on once the exam comes. So, today is Monday, exam day is Friday, and every day we're doing tests, we're doing videos, we're looking in the book, we're underlining stuff, and we're, you know, reinforcing our range of knowledge so that we would be successful on Friday to become licensed. And the licensing that we're going through is from the American Association of Power Engineers, facility operating third class licensing is what it is. So I'm excited about that, and I already have a water license and a wastewater license, and now I have the opportunity to be certifiable in boiler operations and steam operations. So I just think that that's a good thing, no matter what industry you're in. Always seek to develop yourself and grow, because you never know where it will take you and who it will get you in contact with and who you can help. I'm water operated, water operations and wastewater operations, and now steam. And now I'm, want to create this podcast for people, that's in those industries, so I can help them and add value to them. That's what it's all about. It's about adding value to people. A lot of the old school mentality, and you know it's a shame to them, but some people like to hoard information and they don't want to give it because they feel that they could be replaceable. But that's the goal, is you want somebody to grow and to become who they need to be. And if that's a person that's new on your job and you are a senior operator, it's good to help them. It's good to give them a foundation to start on so that they can grow and they can be better, and help them along in their journey. So I just thought I would say that. And but yeah, I'm gonna get into these definitions. It's like I said, it's gonna be kind of short. I'm gonna do the A's and the B's tonight, the alphabet from A to B, and and then I'll just continue on making uh, future shows until I get all the way to Z, and then that'll be something that's good to have in your arsenal for studying and just a general knowledge. So let's start with A. Above ground storage tank, or AST. A tank in any underground piping connected to the tank that has less than 10% of its combined volume underground. Absolute pressure, or PSIA, which is press, I don't know how to speak, do I? It's called pounds per square inch absolute. And that is the gauge pressure plus atmospheric pressure. That is absolute pressure. Accessory, a piece of equipment that is not directly attached to a boiler, but is necessary for its safe and efficient operation. Accumulation test, a test used to establish the relief capacity of a boiler safety valves. Acid, any water with a pH less than 7. So I can kind of go off on a little bit on this, since I got a lot of background in water. The pH scale is from 0 to 14. And anything that's 7 is neutral. Anything less than 7 is acidic, or it's an acid. And anything higher than 7 is alkaline, or in other words, basic. So next term is actuator. An actuator is a device that provides the power and motion needed to manipulate the moving parts of a valve or damper used to control fluid flow through a final element. Air atomizing burner is a fuel oil burner that sends compressed air and pressurized fuel oil through a nozzle in the furnace where the vaporized fuel mixes with air and is ignited. Air heater, a heat exchanger that is used to heat combustion air for a furnace and is located in the breaching between the boiler and the stack, as an air heater. Alkaline, which what I said earlier when I was talking about an acid. An alkaline is any water with a pH greater than 7. Analyzer sampling system, a system of piping valves and other equipment used to extract a sample from a process condition if it's necessary and convey it to an analyzer. And anion, a negatively charged ion. Now the word I was going to say was an annunciator, an audible electric alarm that alerts the operator of an operating condition that needs immediate attention. And the next one is anthracite coal, a geologically old coal that contains a high percentage of fixed carbon and a low percentage of volatile matter, also known as hard coal. API, a value used by the American Petroleum Institute, API, to describe the density of fuel oil. Area source, a facility that emits less than 10 tons per year of any single HAP and less than 25 tons per year of any combination of air toxics. Area source. Ash, the solid material left behind in the process of burning coal. And then next is an ASME code, a code written by the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, ASME, that governs and controls the types of materials, methods of construction, and procedures used in the installation of boilers. Automatic blowdown, the process of automatically controlling the amount of boiler blowdown in order to maintain the level of total dissolved solids at the given set point. Now we're going to the B's. Bag house, a device that separates PM from the gases of combustion using cloth bags, similar to vacuum cleaner bags. A balanced draft, draft produced from one or more forced draft fans located before the boiler and one or more induced draft fans after the boiler, also known as combination draft. A bent tube boiler is a water tube boiler with multiple drums connected by shaped tubes. Best available control technology, or a BACT, technology that meets the environmental requirement for emissions from major new or modified sources in an attainment area. Bimetallic steam trap. A steam trap in which a temperature-sensitive bimetallic element controls a small discharge valve. Next is a bimetallic thermometer. A thermometer that uses a strip of two metal alloys with different coefficients of thermal expansion that are fused together at the ends. Next is biomass, a biological material used as renewable energy fuel. Bituminous coal, a geological young coal that contains a low percentage of fixed carbon and a high percentage of volatile gas, also known as soft coal. Blowdown, the process of opening valves to blow water or steam through a fitting or from a boiler in order to remove any slush, sediment, or other undesirable particles. Blowdown heat recovery system, equipment that is installed to reclaim heat that is normally lost during continuous blowdown. A blowdown separator, a small tank in which makeup water is added to the boiler blowdown water after it flashes in order to reduce the discharge water temperature. A blowdown tank, a vented tank that cools blowdown water and steam to protect sewer lines from the high pressures and temperatures of blowdown water. Boiler, a closed vessel used for heating water to generate steam by direct application of heat from combustion fuels or electricity. Boiler horsepower, or BHP, the amount of energy equal to the evaporation of 34.5 pounds of water an hour from and at a feed water temperature of 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Boiler vent, a valve connected to the top of a boiler that allows air to be removed from the boiler when filling and heating and allows air to be drawn in when the pressure drops during cool down or when draining the boiler. Bottom ash, relatively large ash particles that are heavy enough to be collected and removed from the bottom of the furnace. Bottom blowdown, the process of removing water from the bottom of a boiler in order to remove impurities from the water. Bottom blowdown valve, a valve located at the lowest part of the water side of a fire tube boiler or the mud drum of a water tube boiler so that the sludge and sediment can be removed from the bottom of the boiler. A bourdon tube, an oval metal tube inside a mechanical pressure gauge that is shaped like a question mark and has a tendency to straighten when pressurized. A British thermal unit, or a BTU, is a measurement of the quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 pound of water by 1 degrees Fahrenheit. A bubbler is a level measuring instrument consisting of an air tube extending to the bottom of a tank, a pressure gauge, and a transmitter, a flow control meter, and an air pressure regulator, a bubbler. And finally is a burner management system, is a system of control devices and control logic used to ensure safe burner operation. So that is a quick session of definitions from the letters A and B. Um, just, a quick 20-minute show, not too long, but I'm hoping that it will help many people that are either studying for boiler licenses or studying the industry that they're in, or just curious about what is it about a boiler and steam operations that makes it what it is. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for listening. Thank you for dropping in. It's always good to put these shows out and, have people to just, take this stuff in and, to be better by it. So if you found value in today's episode, make sure you like, share, follow, and subscribe to the H2O Hustle Podcast. And whether you're working in water treatment, wastewater treatment, steam production, boiler operations, or you're just beginning your journey in the utility industry, we're going to keep learning, growing, and getting better together. This is the H2O Hustle, where we approach the work, the journey, and the growth with passion, purpose, and precision. Until next time, stay safe, keep learning, and keep hustling, everybody.